Hey guys, Ted from Nerdarchy here. With me is Dave. It's For Nerds by Nerds. And today we're here to talk about the Dungeons & Dragons monster, the Troll. So, what do you think?
They're icky. They got long pointy teeth and claws, and they rip and they rend, and they don't die. They're such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting about the Troll. Typically with your, strong bruiser type monsters, they're big, they're bulky, and while the Troll might be tall, they're always described as like, gangly,
yeah.
thin, rubbery skin. So it makes it fairly easy for people to figure out that's a troll.
It's a troll. It's green. It's gangly. It's very big, and it's icky.
So, what do we think? How can we use trolls in alternate ways to make, the encounters, more memorable, or not just, okay, I beat it down, steal its treasure and, gain the XP?
Have it not fight you. That'd be a big one. Well, here's the thing, right? Unfortunately what happens in a group sometimes, not all groups, but, this mentality of kill it, take its stuff. So they always want to just attack first and ask questions later. And, every encounter should be an opportunity to role play.
Absolutely.
To some extent or another, whether it's banter back and forth, maybe some kind of exchange beforehand. But, as far as using trolls in another way, there's a lot you can do. One, there's a lot of subspecies of trolls and variants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's another way to mix it up. And it also, changes their appearance a little bit. Like the two-headed troll, which is the offspring of an Ent and a troll. How that happens, I don't know. I don't know where troll's going, hey, babies, want to get some of this? And it's like, yeah. But, those ones aren't really nearly as gangly. They're a bit beefier, and they got two heads, but they're two troll heads, and it's just, I don't know if it's as easily distinguishable. But, there's just so many uses for the troll, and there's so many things you can do. As far as, what if they encounter a troll, right, and they know it's a troll, and it's like, oh my god, I gotta take this thing out, we gotta burn it, we gotta dip it in acid or whatever, deep fry it, something. And maybe they don't notice right away that, it's got like a pet squirrel and there's flowers in its hair, because it's a friggin' hippie troll that happens to be a pacifist. Or what if the troll they encounter isn't actually a troll, but someone that's been cursed and polymorphed into a troll? Or what if this troll actually happens to have a full belly and isn't interested in eating you right now? So it may be more intrigued by talking.
Give it 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, true, but but maybe it wants to just rob you instead. So and it doesn't feel like going through the hassle of killing you. So it tries to, parlay for your stuff in order for your life. So there are opportunities, because it is an intelligent monster. They're not mindless beasts. And then, the other thing with the troll is they're often found employed by other monsters.
Right. They are typically, falling into the mercenary bracket, because, all the monsters out there know that, hey, all I need to do is provide enough food, and I've got an unkillable killing machine.
Which, goes into more uses for the troll, because you have people employing it. And, it doesn't even have to be a monster. What if it's a town? You could do weird things like, in this particular town, maybe part of the town watch has a special unit of trolls. And, that would be really weird for your party, to encounter. So, but, there's an arrangement with, they have an arrangement with the mayor, where, this small group of trolls has decided it's much easier to just kind of patrol this town on the outside and scare away other monsters, because most things don't want to tangle with a troll, and they get all the sheep and mutton they want.
Well,
if this band of trolls aren't particularly as sadistic as others.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, they also have the trolls that, it tastes better if it screams. So, so obviously they're not going to be working for anybody. And you can do different things to throw off your players, like they encounter trolls and, the troll's a spellcaster.
It'd be pretty messed up. It's like, oh yeah, I've got protection from elements.
Yeah. Fire what? So now it takes that much more fire to put down a troll. And you know, then
that D6 torch is going to be pretty hard.
yeah, the D6 torch is not going to be very effective. And the other thing is, you know, with trolls, there's so many subspecies, you can find them pretty much in almost any environment.
Right.
You know, underground, the Arctic, swamps, forests, jungle, you know, and you could, depending where they find them, you could flavor them a little bit different. You know,
and if that doesn't, suit your campaign, I mean, there's always templates.
There's always templates, plenty of templates, which we can thank 3.x for that. But well, no, it was cool. I mean, you know, in earlier editions, they just had to do subspecies after subspecies, and now it's like you just make your own.
Right.
My winged two-headed troll of darkness and dying. But so, do you have any good troll stories you'd like to share?
I don't have any specific stories, but for me, I'm always fan of, you know, from the actual character's perspective, the first time that they encounter a troll. I think that it's always an experience for the player as well as for the character or for the group to overcome that challenge. You know, how frequently, you know, have you been in a group where the spellcaster doesn't have, you know, either any fire acid stuff memorized or doesn't have them left because they've already come from, you know, multiple encounters or a large encounter. So now you're stuck with, you know, how do I come up with, you know, some kind of fire or acid damage? So it's like, okay, all right, you know, fighters, you guys have to go up there and just full defense, keep it occupied. Ranger, go make a fire. You know, it's like, all right, well, we've got torches lit, you know, now what do we do?
Now,
you know?
now, Bard, convince it to throw itself on the fire.
You know, so coming up with some kind of alternate method, or, you know, maybe even, you know, one dude saying, you know what, well, I'm not super in love with this character. I'm just gonna go grapple it. You guys all just run. I'll take the bullet. I'll let this character die, and, you know, whatever. You know, so there's all different kinds of methods of what does a party do if they don't have fire or acid right at their disposal once they've learned it's a troll, and that might be, hey, I already know it's a troll, or there might be 5-6 rounds in that you realize, well, dude, these wounds just keep closing. What do I do? Oh crap! You know. The wizard finally makes a check. You know, it's a troll. Oh God! You know, so I mean, for me, that's the biggest thing about a troll.
That's the biggest thing. Well, you know, the other thing too is you can just let the party lose.
Well, I mean, some DMs will sit there and, you know, the troll kills you and eats you and whatever else. Other DMs have a little bit more experience and will say, okay, well, you know, what will the troll do? If there's an average party of, you know, 4 to 6 players, well, the troll's not going to eat 6 bodies right off the bat, you know, so they might take them back and, you know, put them in a cage. Okay, well, I'll eat them later. You know, maybe he might have already eaten, maybe he's just, you know, always looking to have a stockpile. You know, so instead of defeating the troll, you've been defeated by the troll, now you're locked in a cage.
And he gets your XP.
He gets your XP, but at the same time, you know, you might have gone back to its lair where not only are you, you know, you've been stripped of your gear, but there might be better gear, you know, in the pile of stuff that he just has tossed aside to get to the meat. You know, so you might have gone from a lost encounter to here's a way to get new gear, you know, like that. So
well, and it leads to more encounters and more adventure, and you know, that's another thing too. Like in my campaigns, I like there to be an element of danger. I like my players to feel threatened, and they're not automatically going to win.
Oh, well, believe me, I'm well aware.
But you know, at the same time, right? I like to take interesting situations like that and take it from a loss into a win, in the sense that, you know, it isn't the end, but it's the beginning of a new adventure.
Absolutely. That's you know, that's always the best way to take a story. You know, as a DM, you have to be able to deal with changes on the fly. What happens if the party loses an encounter and you're not really prepared for, you know, a total party kill? You know, how do you resolve that situation? Is there a random chance and one of them is gonna become the meal, or is there a chance that everybody still gets out of there? You know, you're gonna have to do things on the fly, and you're gonna have to improv. Well, how do I get them back to, you know, homeostasis. How do I get them back to the story?
Well, and the important thing is making it feel like you're not going to save them every time.
Absolutely.
You know, because you want them to feel like their actions and decisions mean something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're getting a little off topic on the troll and go more into role playing stuff, but. Let's bring it on back with a story.
It's still applicable to how to use the troll, because I mean we've all been in encounters where the troll is just whooping on us because we're just not doing enough damage,
which can very well happen because the troll keeps healing.
So story. So
years ago when I used to subscribe to Dungeon and Dragon magazines, when they were physical things you could hold in your hand, a writer did a short story on a group of ogres who brought down a troll, and they kill it, they bring it back to their lair, they got it on a rack. I don't think they're actually cooking it, and they're just ripping off hunks of meat and eating it, and they're like, this is the best meal ever because it keeps regrowing more meat. And so it continues on a little bit, and then later on in the story the ogres all end up with stomach aches as trolls are growing in their bellies. Now, trolls don't actually really work that way, and, for the meta gamers out there, they're going, but what about the stomach acid? Which I don't know if that's quite the same as regular acid, but it was a good story. It was funny. I enjoyed it. And, since we're going in the Wayback Machine, because I read that probably in like the 80s or early 90s, the early edition of Trolls, if you rolled a high roll on the attack, you severed limbs. And a severed limb on a troll would still keep trying to attack you or reattach.
Right.
Or crawl off to regrow itself if the main body died.
Right.
So there was these interesting things about the trolls. I mean, because let's take that for instance, right? Say that happens and the troll's hand flies off, and the party doesn't find it. Say it ends up in their gear, in a pack or in a saddlebag, right? And they've burned the troll, so they think it's been handled, and they're carrying around the troll regenerator in their backpack or something. So, you could do silly, fun things like that just to spruce things up a bit.
But, going back to your ogre story, as a DM, I mean, there's nothing preventing you from altering, the game rules. Suppose you want to make that super troll, apply whatever template you want to it, but, for every piece that is removed, it can kind of be like, the starfish that exists in our world. The starfish, you've got your 5 legs, but on the top, there's a little nub. And, the nerd in me knows, from if you cut off that nub along with that leg, the starfish will grow a whole new leg as well as a whole new nub. And that leg with the nub will grow a whole new starfish. And, genetically, it's an exact copy. Like, if you actually, do whatever scientific research, even though that new starfish is, days old, it will have all of the scientific evidence that it's lived as long as, the other starfish. So, absolutely. But there's nothing to say that the new troll, or that the troll can't be treated as such, and, maybe you give them some kind of special nodules or whatever, on each appendage, to make them look different, or maybe you don't. You just make a troll that for every time, a piece gets cut off, it starts to grow a whole new troll.
A whole new troll that's pissed off at you because you cut it into pieces.
Or go crazy. Maybe it's not a problem with you because you made it be,
You got this whole new son of a bitch following you around going, mama.
So you can take it in any kind of situation. You can turn something into a, oh my god, scary situation. Now we've got an army of trolls because somebody went, ape shit crazy with the sword. Crazy. Or, you can have it so it's just like, all right, well, this guy, happens to now actually give a crap about me because it has some kind of, maternal instinct that you're the one that caused it to be there.
Yeah, or, going along that vein, wouldn't it be interesting to have a troll that gets dismembered and all the pieces grow back and it's got like a hive mind? So you have like 6 trolls that basically considers themselves one creature.
Oh, that would be pretty scary.
And refers to itself in the first person all the time. You know, there's a lot of fun things you can do with it.
Make sure they don't, you know, climb together like a Voltron-esque monster.
And form a giant troll, and I form the head. Maybe. It could happen. But anyway, you know, let's wrap up trolls. So there's a lot of fun, interesting ways. You can find them anywhere. You don't have to fight them all the time. But be very careful because you are tasty with ketchup.
If you have any cool troll stories, or you know, something that you want to share, maybe a monster that you want to hear about, you know, below, go ahead and comment after you've liked and shared. You know, and you know, you can find us all over the place. We're on all social media, as well as
tweet at us at Nerdarchy. You can go to nerdarchy.com, and where else are we?
We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, obviously, you know, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. So, like I said, all over the place. So, until next time, my friends, stay nerdy.